So, lads, today we're talking about this, and we're talking about this whole thing, and is it proof that the WNBA players hate Caitlin Clark? And I don't mean hate Caitlin Clark. Like, I'm gonna come, well, to be fair, I don't mean hate Caitlin Clark, hate Caitlin Clark person. I don't think any of them do. I don't think that's a thing. But just hate the entire idea. So, we're talking about All-Star voting here, where the players voted Caitlin Clark as the 9th best player at her position in the WNBA.
Is this proof that WNBA players are secretly holding candlelit locker room meetings just to scheme against Caitlin Clark? Or is she simply too talented, too quick, and too unbothered for the league to contain? Get ready, we're diving headfirst into flying elbows, sneaky glances, and post-game quotes that sound like deleted scenes from Mean Girls. This isn't just basketball anymore, it's a primetime drama in high tops. Let's peel back the layers and uncover what's really fueling the Caitlin Clark chaos.
The starters have been revealed today. You got Aaliyah Boston, shout out to AB, Paige Beckers, Caitlin Clark, Nafisa Collier, Alicia Gray, Sabrina Ionescu, Aneka Ogwumike, Satu Sabali, Brianna Stewart, and Asia Wilson will be your 10 starters that Clark and Nafisa Collier get to choose from. And what everybody is talking about are the player rankings when it comes to the All-Star ballot.
Oh, there's no question. They can't stand her. At this point, it's less of a rivalry and more of a league-wide pastime. WNBA players are out here reacting to Caitlin Clark like she just spoiled the ending of their favorite show. The vibe? Pure resentment. Cold stares, tightened jaws, and elbows that seem magnetically guided straight to her ribs. You don't need a microphone. Just watch the court. The hostility isn't subtle. It's screaming loud through every glare and shoulder bump.
Well, let's talk about Caitlin Clark. In the WNBA All-Star voting, we now know who the 10 starters are going to be. And we also got a peel back the curtain reveal on what the other players in the league think of Caitlin Clark. This All-Star voting told us something, and it confirms exactly what we think. The other players in the league can't stand Caitlin Clark. I mean, it's baffling. I've seen some people trying to claim she shouldn't be in the game. She's tied for the league lead in assists, for crying out.
Let's be real. Some of these vets are playing like they're gunning for a spot on Survivor Elbow Edition. Why? Because Caitlin Clark entered the league with a Nike contract, a media circus, and a fan base bigger than most entire teams. And yeah, that burns. She didn't just arrive, she took over. And not everyone's taking it well.
Got the percentages here. Let's compare Jackie Young to Natasha Cloud. Even with Caitlin Clark on her, like, the 56th in points per game, Caitlin Clark has more points this season than Jackie Young. Sorry, not Jackie Young, than Natasha Cloud. Caitlin Clark has more points this season than Natasha Cloud. Natasha Cloud, I'm not joking when I say this, has played, am I right in saying she's played 8 more games than Caitlin Clark? I think she's played 8 more games than Caitlin Clark. Like, she has less points in 8 more games. She is 3rd in assists, in fairness. Alyssa Thomas is probably going to average above 10 assists per game.
These are veterans who've spent years hustling in half-empty gyms, practically begging fans to show up, handing out tickets like promo coupons. Then along comes one rookie, and suddenly the spotlight's blinding, the cameras are everywhere, and the headlines won't stop. For players who've been overlooked for years, it's not just envy. It feels like a slap in the face. In the WNBA world, that kind of instant fame stings deep.
In your guys' opinion, do you feel like Caitlin Clark gets kind of targeted at some of these games, or it's just basketball?
Yeah, she get targeted just like Jordan got targeted.
It's a privilege. You're the best player.
The Jordan rules. They had the Jordan rules. When you're so good, yeah, you're gonna get targeted. Absolutely. It just is what it is.
Absolutely.
Like, come on, man. You gotta, like, when you at a disadvantage, like, I feel like, just like boxing or something. If you fighting against the best, you gotta do something.
If you're a fan of Caitlin Clark, please leave a like and subscribe our channel and type CC 100% in comments below. And here's the kicker. She never even asked for the spotlight. Caitlin Clark didn't roll into the league with a crown and a megaphone shouting, "Kneel before greatness." She just laced up, started hitting logo threes like layups, and packed every arena she stepped into. And how has the league responded? Oh, with the kind of welcome that looks more like a coordinated ambush. We're talking full Cabot defense, mysteriously absent whistles, and game plans that feel more like military drills than basketball strategy. It's like every opposing locker room got the same top-secret memo. Forget the scoreboard, just shake the rookie. And now comes the twist. You'd think the WNBA, a league starved for attention, would roll out the red carpet for a player who's single-handedly rewriting its relevance. You'd expect confetti, headlines, maybe even a little grace. But nope. Caitlin Clark gets treated like a threat, not a treasure. The league's reaction? Suspicious, like she's some sort of glitch in the Matrix. Want proof? Let's talk All-Star voting. Fever fans went full throttle. They voted for Clark like their season tickets depended on it. They probably tried to nominate the Water Girl out of protest. Clark didn't just lead fan votes, she crushed it. The support was overwhelming, the message crystal clear, and yet the league dragged its feet like it was swallowing nails. Not because she hasn't earned it, but because they can't stand the idea of her being the fave. Not yet. Maybe not ever.
Sophie Cunningham said nobody likes us about the Indiana Fever, and the player voting returns for the WNBA All-Star game don't exactly dispel that notion, because Caitlin Clark received the most votes overall, like captain on the team alongside Nafisa Collier. Another starter, Aaliyah Boston, was right behind them in votes, yet both Clark and AB were ranked 9th by the players in guards and...
And that Olympic team? Oh boy. That wasn't just a snub, that was a statement. That was the WNBA's version of, "We see you, but we'd rather not." Imagine being the player who brings in record-breaking viewership, rejuvenates national interest in women's basketball, and then gets left off the Olympic roster like she's a background extra in her own movie. It's like Netflix rebooting a show and leaving out the main character. The message was loud and clear. Thanks for the ratings, but don't get too comfortable. Of course, they'll throw out the usual excuses. It's about experience. Sure, and a raccoon in a lab coat has experience too. Doesn't mean he gets to run the CDC. If it was about talent, she's in. If it was about popularity, she's the first pick. But if it's about protecting the fragile egos of players who've been told they're the future of the league, well, then suddenly she's not ready. And let's not ignore the Fever fan chaos. Even they are confused. One half's out there, proudly building Caitlin shrines with neon lights and photo collages. The other half, voting for anyone with a jersey that isn't Clark's. It's like they've been hypnotized by reverse psychology. Fever fans are out here casting votes like they're playing fantasy basketball with a blindfold on.
She's averaging 18 points a game. I mean, she's in a 3-game shooting downturn. All right? A 3-game shooting slump. And other than that, in the injuries, it's been business as usual for most games. And she had a triple-double this year. So let's take a look at this because we learned a lot here. And it, to me, shows that when it comes to Caitlin Clark, these players are not getting any better. I think they're locked in, they're bound and determined to hate on the Indiana Fever guard.
And yet, somehow, it still worked. Why? Because Caitlin brings a tidal wave of attention wherever she goes, even if half the league wishes she'd surf it back to Iowa. But the funniest part? If fans didn't vote, Clark would be sitting at home during All-Star Weekend with a bowl of popcorn and a confused expression. That's how deep the resistance runs. The league gatekeepers are clenching their clipboards so tightly they're leaving indentations. If it were up to them, Caitlin would be left off every marquee and stuffed into a 5-second highlight package sandwiched between defensive drills and layup lines. They say she's not WNBA ready. What they mean is, she's not WNBA compliant. And nothing infuriates the bouncers more than someone who refuses to beg for entry. Her mere existence is a walking contradiction to everything the league thought it wanted. They wanted attention, yes, but on their terms. They wanted fans, but not new fans with opinions and loud voices and Twitter accounts that actually trend. They wanted growth, but not the kind that shakes up their internal power structure and makes people ask uncomfortable questions like, why weren't we popular before she got here?
WNBA All-Star starters have been announced, y'all. They've been announced. Y'all want to guess who not starting? Hey, listen, some people don't belong in certain conversations. Do y'all want to guess who's not an all-star starter? Y'all think it's a snub that should have been a starter? I got a couple people that I think should have been starting, but we will.
So instead of celebrating the once-in-a-generation rookie that's dragging the WNBA into the mainstream spotlight, they've decided to give her the silent treatment, except with bruises and borderline assault disguised as defense. It's a masterclass in insecure leadership, watching the league try to act like it's thriving while shoving its biggest opportunity into the corner like an unwanted party guest. Let's not forget, this isn't just happening on the court. It's in press conferences, post-game interviews, even sideline chatter. And somehow, she's still standing, still smiling, still pulling up from 30 feet like she's shooting from pure spite. Because that's the real problem, isn't it? She doesn't just survive the hate, she thrives in it. She turns booze into buzz, fouls into fuel, and cold shoulders into sold-out game. Every time someone tries to shut her down, she just gets louder, without even raising her voice. She's not just a player, she's a walking reminder that the status quo isn't cutting it anymore, and that scares people who've been clinging to it like it's a life raft in a storm. So here we are, watching one of the most entertaining spectacles in sports, a league that wants to be seen, somehow resenting the one person everyone actually wants to see. Caitlin Clark didn't create this chaos, but she's definitely become the eye of the storm. Whether she's getting hacked mid-dribble or getting left off rosters like a glitch in the Matrix, she remains the most talked about, watched, and debated player in the league.
When we talk about hatred, when we talk about jealousy, when we talk about pettiness, Caitlin Clark's name always pops up because that's what she receives on a daily basis. And for the players to vote her ninth in guards just lets you know how out of touch they are. And it's not because of her game, it's simply because of those three things that I mentioned. She was ranked first by the fans, which makes sense. She was ranked number 3 by the media, which kind of makes sense. Anywhere between the 1, 2, or 3rd, that's fine. And then she was ranked 9th by the players. And it's just so funny. 9th rated player for a guard.
And that's the punchline, isn't it? The WNBA might not want her, but they need her. Desperately, unavoidably, uncomfortably, because love her or hate her, Caitlin Clark is the conversation. And in a league that's been begging for relevance, she is the relevance. They can keep pretending she's not the main character, but everyone else already bought tickets to her show. And speaking of jokes, let's talk about the latest comedy special disguised as a player ranking. Nobody's saying Angel Reese is the second coming of Diana Taurasi. Well, except maybe Angel Reese. But pretending she's barely scraping the top 10 while being the only player in the league who trends before she even brushes her edges? That's peak petty. This league claims to want stars, drama, personality, buzz, then proceeds to punish the only ones who bring it. Like, do they want viewers or just quiet compliance? Because right now it feels like the league is the HR department of women's basketball, allergic to charisma and obsessed with order.
How do you feel about the WNBA players bashing Caitlin Clark?
Okay, so I'm going to state some facts here and not opinions because this is a controversial topic for some crazy reason. The WNBA is a subsidized league. What it means subsidized means is that the NBA basically gives their money so the WNBA could exist because the WNBA does not produce any revenue.
They lose money, actually.
They lose money. Okay, so Caitlin Clark, a generational women's basketball player finally comes around where people are like, oh my God, this girl is amazing. She gets drafted. She's putting up crazy numbers. She's entertaining. Ticket sales go up. Revenue goes up. She brings all this money to the league. Also, she turned down a contract in the Big Three, making millions of dollars to go make $75,000 a year in the WNBA.
Yeah.
Okay? Now you go on ESPN and all these things, and all these, her peers in the WNBA are trashing her.
They keep acting like it's a meritocracy, but we all know it's a popularity contest. Minus the popularity. The only metric being used is how well do you follow the WNBA code of silent struggle and beige branding. Reese talks too much, celebrates too loud, believes in her own hype. Boom, docked points. Meanwhile, players who average 4 points and 3 turnovers are treated like oracles, just because they know how to play the humble game and say, we win as a team. Let's keep it painfully real. Angel Reese is the only actual star outside of Caitlin Clark in this whole thing. Not an assistant star, not a cameo, not the girl next door on the team bus. She's the headline. That's a star. You can hate the package, but you can't deny the shine. And yet, 12th. Behind players who are somehow being ranked for their ability to avoid controversy and quietly post double singles. You know, players whose highlight reels look like footage from a charity scrimmage. Meanwhile, Reese is out here grabbing 15 rebounds, blocking shots like she's swatting flies at a cookout, and somehow that only earns her a side eye and a not quite top 10 nod? Let's not pretend this is about stats or efficiency or locker room presence. This is about vibes, and not the good kind. This is resentment. This is the league whispering, know your place, through a passive-aggressive spreadsheet.
It was the fan vote, right? This is supposed to be the most popular players, right? Oh man, let's see who got fans, y'all. Let's see who can get some fans to vote. The 2025 WNBA All-Star starters. We got Aaliyah Boston, the Mean Machine from the Indiana Fever. We got Paige Beckers, the great rookie out of Dallas, having an awesome rookie season. We got the GOAT, Caitlin Clark, the one and only. Not the icing on the cake, the whole cake. Not the needle mover, the needle. The one and only GOAT, CC22, Caitlin Clark.
And the funniest part? Reese is still playing through it. Loud, proud, unbothered, lashes batting like windshield wipers during a storm. She's the kind of player who makes people feel something, good or bad. And in a league fighting for relevance, that's more valuable than 1,000 mid-range jumpers from players who couldn't sell out their own family reunion. Honestly, watching these rankings unfold is like sitting through a group project where the person who did all the work gets a C because she had too much attitude. It's not just Reese. This whole thing is a soap opera with less subtlety and worse acting. The league says it wants growth, attention, stars, but the moment someone acts like a star, they get slapped down. Caitlin? Body checked into silence. Reese? Backhanded in the rankings. Juju Watkins should probably start preparing now for whatever gaslighting the league has lined up for her future All-Star votes. The problem is, the league and its players still think they are operating in a time when nobody's watching.
As you guys know by now, WNBA All-Star captains have been announced. Team Collier versus Team Clark, the top two vote getters when it comes to fan voting. Caitlin Clark, over 1.2 million fan votes. Nafisa Collier not too far behind with 1.1 million fan votes. Aaliyah Boston was close, less than 2,000 votes away from a Team Clark versus Team Boston All-Star game experience. That would have been quite the entertainment, but instead we get Team Clark versus Team Nafisa Collier, and something that I think is getting overlooked is who's going to be coaching Caitlin Clark come the All-Star game.
But now people are watching, and what they're seeing is a crew of players so allergic to stardom that they'd rather undermine the ones bringing eyeballs than risk feeling overshadowed. It's like a band where every backup singer is mad the lead got the solo. This isn't unity, it's insecurity with a side of bitterness. They want to pretend it's not jealousy, that it's about earning your stripes or respecting the game. But come on. If Angel Reese were quiet and average, she'd be celebrated by this crew. She'd be sipping bench Gatorade while the locker room threw her a pizza party. But because she has actual charisma and dares to own her space, she becomes public enemy number 2 right behind Caitlin Clark. She radiates, she talks her talk and backs it up with numbers, hustle, and a level of showmanship this league has been starving for, but doesn't know how to handle when it actually shows up. So instead of celebrating her, they bury her behind safe picks and bland personalities that make all-star ballots look like witness protection programs. You've got players out here more focused on being humble than being seen, and that's the real issue. In any other sport, showmanship is embraced. In the NFL, you do a backflip into the end zone. In the NBA, you hit a 3 and shimmy like you're on Dancing with the Stars. But in the WNBA, God forbid you flip your hair or talk spicy in a post-game interview without being called immature, cocky, or disruptive.
Getting all its attention. She's better than you. Like, I don't understand, like, why, like, facts and opinion. Like, this is not an opinion. Caitlin Clark's putting up better numbers than you guys ever did, and she's bringing the league attention, which is great for all the women coming up in the world that want to play basketball, that want to have a life and create a life for themselves by being a professional athlete, because women deserve that. So now you're going to turn around and you're going to try to beat her up on the court, and you're going to try to trash her on social media, and you're going to try to trash her on, like, live TV. Come on. You guys need to do a little bit better.
She is super entertaining.
The league has become the paradox of professional sports, begging for attention, then punishing the people who bring it. And Reese is just the latest casualty of this self-inflicted nonsense. She should be a marketing dream, young, bold, unapologetic, competitive, and marketable. But instead, she's stuck navigating a minefield of eye rolls and strategic sidestepping by players who are still playing defense off the court too. And let's not forget the players doing the voting. It's not just the fans, the media, or the WNBA brass. It's the players, ranking Reese 12th. The same players who've built careers in front of half-empty gyms are now pretending they're gatekeepers to greatness. The same players who needed Caitlin and Angel to revitalize the league are now throwing shade like it's confetti at a petty parade. The hypocrisy is immaculate. If Reese didn't exist, half of them wouldn't even have media interviews to fake smile through. So yes, Reese is the only star acting like a star. And that's exactly why she's getting slapped down in player rankings, team whispers, and league side eyes. Because in a world of beige, she's Technicolor. In a room full of whispers, she's the mic drop. And in a league desperate to be seen, she's the only one not afraid to look directly into the camera. It's obvious, and it's hilarious. Because while they rank her low, the world ranks her high. And no spreadsheet can stop a star that actually shines. If you enjoyed leaving a like and subscribing, more videos are on the screen now.